that there's all these women out there going, oh, I should be dating Hollywood royalty because, I dated this guy and I'm going to go to the next point. But they can't, okay? They can't. They have, all these women have certain glass ceilings. There's only a certain amount that they can get to.
The number of men not having sex in the last year or in a previous year has gone up. It was like 12% before 2008, before there was an iPhone. Now it's almost 30% in the United States. There's 26% of men under the age of 30 are virgins. There's the under the age of 30, 60. Go ahead.
It's crazy. Come on, you're from my era. Everyone's losing their virginity.
No, that's my point. I was getting to that point. I was like, but in you and I'm 46. I didn't have an iPhone until I was 23 years old. Or I didn't have an iPhone until I was 30. I had a 30 years old before I had my first iPhone with a Facebook app on it. So I knew how to date, and I'd been in a fist fight. Like I'd lived life. I'd fought in 2 wars at this point. In Iraq and Afghanistan. So like I had a concept of like what the world was like. And a lot of these guys, you're right, they don't have that whole thing. My question is this: do you feel that in some way, when we talk about the sexlessness of men, if you ever listen to Scott Galloway or Richard Reeves, he's from the Brookings Institute. He's British. He used to work for the Prime Minister in the UK. They both go over this concept where there's like this mismatch in dating, where there's this group of men who are, because 68% of college graduates in the United States are female, there's this group of men that are being left behind from an educational standpoint and from a monetary standpoint and from a societal standpoint. And what's happened is, additionally, you'll have dating apps. And I was listening to this one video, this guy who designs dating apps, and he was like, it's really bad for women to left swipe on thousands of men and thinking in her mind that she could lock these men down when in reality she probably couldn't. And then her expectation for her partner becomes unrealistic. I think pornography does this for men, and I feel like social media, specifically Instagram, has done this for a large group of women, to where their belief in what they can get, because one time they fucked a power forward, they fucked the center fielder for Chelsea, they all of a sudden think that that's the level of man that they can get all the time and lock down. And I've just seen a level of delusion that's happened specifically from the girls that I've had here on my show.
Okay, so there's an element of what you're saying that I agree with. Okay, I definitely agree with. Let's give you a personal story. So I have dated celebrities, and I went out with for a little while a Premiership footballer. That's quite a big. Sorry for your US kind of.
It's the NFL. Yeah, there's 20 teams in their Premier League, and their top players like make as much, or if not more. Like Mbappe in his Premier League, or in his league, he makes over $100 million a year. Right. So yeah, it's the equivalent to our NFL.
Yeah. So he was quite a big deal and everything, and wealthy and all the rest of it. And the next guy that I dated after him was broke. So I don't believe that because I was going at that guy that suddenly, now my expectations are higher. Now, maybe on one level there were, like mentally I was thinking, I got him, so I need someone else like that. Yes, until one guy comes along and runs game on me and completely, captivates me. So you are right that there are women like that, but that I don't believe that men should look at it and go, well, okay, well, I'm fucked because she goes out with these kind of guys or those kind of guys, or she has this level of expectation, which is why it's so important to approach a woman. Because if you're approaching a woman just through Instagram or a dating app, all she's going with is, how many followers does he have? What's his lifestyle like? And what does he look like in his pictures? But when you actually go up to somebody, you can express so much more. You can express confidence. You can express your humor, your wit, your kindness, whatever it is, whatever your selling points are. You cannot do that behind a screen. You can do it to a certain extent, but not to the same level as when you're actually face to face with someone. Because if a guy, again, doesn't have the great lifestyle, doesn't have the good looks, he is fucked on those apps and things. The only thing he's got left is his game. That's all he's got left. Yeah, he can try and get in shape and try and be the best he can be, and looks-wise, he's done that, fine. All he's got left is game. Going up, approaching, and showing what he's all about. Now, all the guys that I dated, if not all of them, there's a few that were real knockouts, but good looking, that means. But the rest of the guys, if I'd have met them, if my first interaction had been via a dating app, I would have swiped no, because they weren't physically my type. The way they approached me, the way that they came back to my stupid test I gave them, the way that they handled the situation, the way they spoke to me. It's so important that guys understand this. So I do agree with you that there's all these women out there going, oh, I should be dating Hollywood royalty because, I dated this guy and I'm going to go to the next point. But they can't, okay? They can't. They have, all these women have certain glass ceilings. There's only a certain amount that they can get to. That's not the point. That's irrelevant. That should be really irrelevant to guys. They should just say, okay, don't give a shit. She's used to these kind of guys. I'm gonna dazzle her. I'm gonna go in there with my game, and I'm going to make her like me. Because that's all you've got. There's no other choice. You have to go in like that, and it's worked on me. As I said, guy absolutely broke. I was infatuated with him. All I could think about was this guy. He just had game. That's all he had. And he did it. He could do it with any woman. That's a power. That's a real power.
Incredible. There's some studies that go over this. So where women find most women find most men to be unattractive. That's what's called an unfamiliar environment. In a familiar environment, things start to even up. So in an unfamiliar environment, women tend to find most men to be below average attractiveness, which of course mathematically doesn't work. But in a familiar environment, meaning people that they know or people that are in their social circle, these men that they previously thought were a 4, that can come up to like an 8. So what I found is like getting them out of an unfamiliar environment. So that would be nightclub, dating apps, stuff like that, getting them into a familiar environment, go on an Insta date, come to an event I'm doing, or get to know me like, more, know more about me on social media, whatever. That gets them into a familiar environment, and it just seems like you said before, now you have the ability to present yourself. You have the ability to show these different attributes, whereas before, if those attributes are not shown, then it's just which guy's hotter, and that's where a lot of these guys fall behind. But that's an unfamiliar environment versus a familiar environment, and that's why I think it's different. Like what you said before, the dating apps, these guys aren't going to do very well.
Yeah, but also what you're doing is like a kind of a quick route to get there. I understand. And when you're in, for instance, an office situation, you can create a slow burner then. Okay, the girl wasn't initially attracted to you when you first came into the office, but then after, she sees how you talk to people, how you handle things, and then something, that slow burn begins. Really what you have to do in game is you have to speed up that slow burn. It becomes a fast burn, right? You need to speed it up. You need to show all these attributes very, very quickly. But what you're doing, I understand, it's like kind of putting them in a different environment where their value goes up.
Yeah.
But don't you think that guys that can do that, and there are guys out, this is what I can't stress enough. I've been seduced by these guys. Me with my wily ways, who knows every trick in the book, I have been seduced by them. And that's all they had was game. They had that banter. They knew what to do. They knew how to make me laugh. They knew what buttons to press. You understand? So
yeah.
I think I think everything else, the dating apps, the Instagram, that's all extras.
Mm-hmm.
Have that. Great. That's that extra. It's going to give you that final push. But just know that you can do it on your own.